Okay, all right. So we're going to discuss about how to give USMLE Step 1 in 2026 in just 4 months. So, Step 1 is supposed to be very efficient, simple, and time saving. As I'm sure you know that the match cycle, the ultimate goal of anyone who's starting this USMLE journey, focuses on the complete application of the candidate. It's not just your step 1 or 2, right? It's not just a 2 CK score. It's not just that. It's a complete application. So knowing the timeline for it, and this surprises me a lot because a lot of students, they don't know the timeline. They don't understand that how much time they should give to a certain aspect of their preparation. So for step 1, they might take a year, and they might take 2 years for step 2. But during all of that time, I think during those 3 years, how much could you have done for your complete application is just wild, because you can do a lot in 3 years. So it just surprises me that anyone who is preparing for step 1 uh, should have an idea on the timeline they are supposed to stick to. They should have a timeline. They should have a goal time in their heads before starting their preparation. Before starting, and this just shows that the status quo is such as fact that, I mean, there has to be some source point in which you're getting to know about step USMLE and the steps, right? And whatever source you have, and whatever source a student has, and he's getting to know his about this pathway, he is not supposedly getting to know about how much time he should spend on his step 1. He's only getting to know about his exams, but the timeline is so different, is so variable among students that the more advice he gets, the more lost he becomes. And nobody's giving the right advice. So 4 months, 4 is the timeline that you should keep in mind of giving your step 1. Not more than that, not less than that. 4 months. There are two kinds of students. One is the average normal student who is slightly above average or just average student, and he is familiar with the topics. He doesn't remember any topics, he's just familiar with it. And he, maybe if he takes 10 to 15 minutes to go through an application explanation, then he might be able to understand what the explanation is saying and then memorize it. However, there's a second camp of students which either have completely skipped that particular topic, or they are getting completely blank on that topic. So for those people, of course, there are certain different conditions. So for those people, you might be aiming for 6 months, but not more than that. 6 months is the maximum limit that you should be aiming for. For those people, there's a different story. But for the first camp of students, which is like the majority of students, should be aiming for 4 months. Now, it's very important to explain that how do you know which kind of student you are. So that is when you start your UWorld. So both kind of students are recommended to start their UWorld, right? Once you start your UWorld, once you do 300 to 400 questions or so, you're going to know that you're going to understand that what is your performance. Technically, what is your performance? So if you're getting completely blank on certain questions, you're from the second camp. Explain a little bit on what the foundational subjects are for understanding the USMLE Step 1 criteria and the subject outline. So for me, I like to include 3 subjects as the foundational subjects. So biochemistry, physiology, and pathology. Now pathology is sort of integrated in systems as well. You don't need to know most of it. Like you will study it with UWorld. But biochemistry and physiology are those kind of subjects in which you need to have sort of a grip or sort of familiarity with it. Again, you are not expected to be a master in it. You're just supposed to have some familiarity. So, as I've talked about the two different kinds of students, if you belong in the type 1, as I've said, then you already have some familiarity with those foundational subjects. If you belong to type 2, then you are sort of somewhat weak in those subjects. I would consider that. So this is the rule that I follow. So once you are done with 500 questions or 200, 300 questions, I think 500 is a good margin. So once you're done with 500 questions, you will probably know in which type of student you are. So for both people, you need to start with your UWorld QBank, as I've said earlier. If you struggle in UWorld, that is the whole point. You are supposed to struggle in UWorld. So both kinds of students, everybody is going to struggle in UWorld. Okay, even I sometimes do. I've given the exams, but I still struggle in UWorld. So that's the point of the QBank. If you stop struggling is going to be of no use, right? So that's the point of UWorld. So you're not supposed to run away from struggle. So it's not like that if you're struggling in a certain topic, then you are completely blank or you are not familiar with the topic or you've forgotten it completely. That's not the case. You probably need just some practice. So getting that differentiation known is very important. So those people, there's a simple strategy that I just advise my students and that I followed myself, is that you do untimed tutor mode, 40 questions a day for 3 months, which are 90 days. It's equal to 3600 questions, which is the whole QBank of step 1 UWorld. So that's how you're done with UWorld in 3 months, and then you have 1 month more in which you do give 15 days to NBMEs 25 to 33. So you do NBMEs 25 to 33 and you give 15 days to them, and then you give 15 days or 10 days to your revision, in which you revise general topics, biochemistry, immunology, physiology, pathology from your first aid book. That's what you do. So simple advice, right? And that's it. That's that. You're going to sit in the exam. So if you get more than 65% in 3 or 4 consecutive NBMEs, I'd like to keep it on 70. I like to be a bit more conservative. So if you get more than 70% on 3 to 4 NBMEs, then you're ready to sit in the exam and you're ready to give it. If you're getting below 65, then you should go over your UWorld incorrects again, and then you should stop NBMEs. You should not give any more NBMEs. Stop NBMEs, and then go for UWorld incorrects, and then get back to your NBMEs, and then give your free 120, and then give your exam. So do your NBMEs, do your free 120. You don't need to do the UWSA 1 or 2. That's just not important. Just give your free 120 and then sit in the exam, and you're going to pass it. All right. A good rule of thumb to follow is that it should take you around 4 to 5 hours, 6 hours. So do it like this. So you're going to do 10 questions per hour. So it should take you around maximum 6 to 7 hours to complete your UWorld block with explanations. So you're going to do untimed tutor mode. So obviously explanations are going to come in between. So make sure that you spend the first 6 to 7 hours of your day, 6 hours maximum, and then at night or in the evening when you are going to sit down to study again, do your first aid. So the things that were giving you trouble when you are doing your QBank in the morning, just go through them in the evening or at the night time from the book. ChatGPT is your best friend. Use ChatGPT to understand the concept. It can explain everything very easily, especially if you have the digital version of first aid. You can just copy paste material in it and then tell ChatGPT to explain it to you. So use that. Make sure you understand each and everything before moving on to the next question, next explanation, next topic. Again, understanding is the key, not memorization. So you need to understand everything. You're not supposed to memorize. You will eventually memorize and learn it. That's going to come to you eventually. Memorization is an ongoing, continuous process. So it is going to come to you naturally. You're not expected to forcefully remember anything or memorize anything. So make sure to do that. And just make sure that you're concentrating on concept building and why the answer is right and why the other options are wrong. This is more important. One thing that I would like to add is that having simple resources and less number of resources is also important, because the more resources that you have, the more diverted your mind is going to be, and the more anxious you are going to be when you're not going to be able to divert your attention towards all of those other resources. So not only this advice, but if you are following another school of thought, then make sure that your resources are as few as possible. Less number of resources uh, is going to equal to your success. So do keep in mind that the less number of resources, the more simple you're going to make your preparation, the more rewarding it's going to be for yourself. Because most of the times, the correct answer is the most simple one, right? You overthink it and you make it wrong. So keep your preparation very, very simple. If you're going to follow this advice, then you need only 2 resources, your 3 resources. You need your QBank, UWorld, you need your NBMEs and your first aid. You don't even need your first aid now, most of the times, but if I don't mention first aid, then people are just going to get crazy. So you need first aid, UWorld, NBMEs, 3 resources. And this is going to be enough for your preparation. You don't need anything else. Stop making it complicated. It's quite simple, and keep it simple and keep it efficient. And you are not expected again to waste a lot of time on preparing for step 1. It's pass fail. It's easy now, so you can sit on it, but you're not supposed to rush through it. Okay, you're not supposed to rush through step 1. You're supposed to give step 1 and you're supposed to study for it like you are going to sit for step 2 and 3. Most people study for step 1 like they're not going to give any other exam. So you need to give step 2 and 3. So you need to have your basics strong. So study for step 1 like you're going to give step 3 and 2, and don't rush through it. And I would suggest that aim for more than 80% marks in your NBME. So more than 80% corrects is going to determine that you are a very, very good student, and now you have your basics clear. So once you're above 80%, you go towards step 2, you're going to have no problem whatsoever, and you're going to get a very good score in step 2 as well. So make sure you do that. And this is a favor that you're going to do for yourself. If this preparation of yours works out, then the rest of the paper that you're going to give in this journey, at least, and in any other competitive exam as well, is going to be set. You're going to be absolutely set. One thing that students do is that they give a practice NBME when they're done with 60 to 70% of UWorld, which is a very stupid approach. Shouldn't do that. It's just like wasting an NBME. So please don't waste NBMEs. You're going to learn from NBMEs more than you learn from UWorld. Keep that in mind. I respect the NBMEs. Don't waste them. And because NBMEs are very conceptual, the paper is like the NBMEs and it's not like the UWorld. So make sure that you are focused more on the UWorld style of questions and how to choose the correct answer. All right, so that's it. And if you have any questions, you can ask in the comments below. Clean, simple, efficient advice on how to give your USMLE Step 1 in 2026 in 4 months. And if I think of any other queries, I'll make sure to answer them. All right.